All right, so John Fitch versus Rory McDonald. First thing I'll probably say about this fight is that John Fitch's style is truly not a fan favorite style. I mean, at no point did he look to pass Rory's guard, and at no point did he really try and posture up and land any big strikes. So I can now understand why they tried to get rid of Fitch as soon as possible. As soon as he had that first loss against Johnny Hendricks, which was a big loss when he got hit with that, I think it was a left hand from Johnny Hendricks, went flying across the cage. So that's the first thing. Fitch's style sucks. I mean, I felt like every round Rory was able to really hurt him and damage him, and then Fitch would get the takedown and just lay on top of him and just land these little shots to the body and a little bit to the head. I know he cut Rory with an elbow. It was only a small cut. It's probably already healed by now. It's been like 24 hours. It was that small. And you can see from this photo as well, Rory landed head kicks. He had jabs. He seemed like his right hand, especially in the first few rounds before Fitch had. Well, Fitch never really did time it, but he did time it at the end of the first round. He got to a single leg. The right hand seemed like it hit him in the face every time he threw it. Another thing I'd say in the first round as well, Fitch got him down on a single leg and he was kind of on one butt cheek. And Rory was attacking his arm, but both his legs were through the arm. Like, I don't understand why guys don't attack the reverse triangle more often. I mean, the reverse triangle was there the whole, like, in that for probably 30 seconds. He just had to put his legs together and boom, he could have used it to attack the other arm or sweep, or if you're really good at reverse triangles, you can submit from there. Another thing as well, I think Rory had him trying to kind of drop down for a guillotine at one point, which I think was a bad idea. He should have just defended the takedown, but I guess, Fitch has been submitted in the first round a couple times already, so not surprising. I really thought he would employ that same kind of style he had against Woodley, where he had a real low stance, popped jab, and then had his right hand real high. He probably didn't need to have the right hand as high for Fitch because obviously Woodley throws his overhand. So Rory had his hand up high so he could block it. With Fitch, he's just looking to get to your legs. He's not really trying to throw anything, so he could have just had a lower stance and not moved backwards and only moved forwards. I mean, he threw great teeps to the body. I mean, there was multiple times in the fight that Fitch was hurt. I feel like if you get wobbled or get dropped, I feel like you've lost that round unless you do something like equally as much. You need to do as much damage as they just did to you, but back. But really, all Fitch would do was he'd get hurt and then manage to get a takedown and just lay on top and land these tiny little shots to the body, little shots to the head. And then the judging, two judges, I think, go Fitch a 10-8 round for one of the rounds, which was ridiculous. I mean, there was no 10-8 round there at all. I mean, it was like a lay and pray. He's got such a boring style. I mean, especially when he didn't I can appreciate his abilities and what he's trying to go out there and do. But like I said, he didn't look to posture up, didn't look to pass. I mean, there's a difference when Rory fought Damian Maia. Damian passed right away, went straight to mount. Then Rory was able to escape, and then he was back when he was the Canadian Psycho back then. So he really destroyed Maia after that. And then, so the judging I think was wrong. I thought Rory was up 3 rounds going into the 5th, and I thought he lost that 5th round. I can't really remember. But I think, it was a majority draw, so same thing as Woodley and Wonderboy. Majority draw, he retains the title, moves on to the next round. And then as well, the referee, he was like screaming at Rory to get his fingers out of the cage, but they weren't. His hand was on the cage. And there was like the one time in the fight you've seen the Canadian Psycho or the Red King come back out in Rory, and that was when the referee slapped his hand off the cage when he was just resting it on there. He didn't have his fingers through it. You could see Rory looked at him and he had that fire again, which he claimed he didn't have in that fight, which I hope that he gets back. But then again, I think he's been doing it for being fighting professional since he was 16. I think he's 28 now, so he's put in a good 12 years. I mean, he right away as well, he was competing at a really high level. I think he was in his 3rd fight, he was fighting for the called Cage Warriors or something like that, King of the Cage, the Canadian show. He was 18 years old fighting grown men. But and then his comments after where he felt like he doesn't want to hurt people anymore. I mean, which is obviously a problem if you're going into a fight. If you don't really have that fight desire to to beat someone. I mean, you can people. I guess that's you can have people who are competitors, but then you have people who are just straight up savages like Wanderlei Silva, who for some reason just have no lack of desire to really put people through pain. But I think if he doesn't want to hurt people anymore, but he still wants to continue to fight, maybe he should look to grapple more. I mean, he didn't even try to take Fitch down once in this. He did try a reverse triangle and then switch to a triangle, but then Fitch obviously was hip to that. He also tried to take a Kimura in the first round. But yeah, it was. I thought Rory had won this one clearly. People were saying that Fitch won. I mean, the draw I can understand, but when those two judges, I think, was it one judge gave him a 10-8, I'm pretty sure. I think it was like 46, 49 on one scorecard, which was outrageous. I mean, they need to get consistent with these judges, with this judging. I mean, sometimes they'll score the grappling really high, sometimes they won't score it at all. I mean, this sport's been around for what, nearly 30 years now, and they still haven't got a handle on any of this stuff. I mean, I'd hate to be a fighter and have the scores go to the judges because you never know what's going to happen. Anyway, that's about it. Let us know what you think, what you thought the outcome was. If you don't think Rory won, then you're wrong, and tell me why.